I was this entrepreneurial businessman who spent his time travelling the world making these shady deals and amassing a huge amount of money, but he also had a mean streak in him. Coming back from one of his trips, he decided he'd buy his wife some nice perfume. So he went into the perfume shop and he asked the girl could he have a look at some perfume. So she gave him a nice box and he said, "How much is it?" She said, $100. Oh, he said, "That's too much. I want something cheaper." So she gave him another smaller box. And he said, "How much is that?" She said, $80. "Oh, no," he said, "no, that's too expensive. I want something cheaper." So she ended up getting him a smaller one, very small one indeed, actually, of about $18. And he said, "You know, I always look for something cheaper." And she said, "Oh, well," she said, "have a look in this mirror." She got quite frustrated with him. Don't know where that's leading us. Most of all, I think you've all heard of Vincent van Gogh, that famous Flemish painter, who did some wonderful paintings and drawings. 1,700 he did in his life. He only sold one for which he got $85. And after he died, one of his paintings of a Dr. Cahal was 82 million. Vincent van Gogh never saw what he wanted to see in his life. He never heard what he wanted to hear. All he did was stand fast and follow his course, which was to draw and paint. He's left behind a treasure, but it wasn't easy for him. And his life is a model, I think, of standing fast, because life isn't easy for most people. Life has its tribulations and upsets that come and destroy our peace of mind and our comfortableness, and it's something you can't predict or control. And Vincent van Gogh knew that, but he didn't stop painting. He didn't stop drawing. He didn't stop producing these beautiful works of art to be enjoyed by generations to come. So each of us in this church today have got their own particular problems and their hopes and aspirations. And many of these things are not met. And we think our life is passing by. And where am I going? But all the time, this wonderful coming of Christ is in you. Coming each day when you do an act of kindness, when you sort of make a sacrifice for people, when you do the things that God wants you to do, as Paul said in that second reading. Help one another and make life a bit more palatable for the people who need you. And that's with the parents and godparents, the grandparents, all of us. We need to help one another. And at times that is not easy. It requires a self-denial, it requires extra energy. But that's the coming of Christ. We talk about the coming. The coming is in your lives every day. You see the mother cherishing her autistic child. You see the older man looking after his wife who's got dementia, or vice versa. You see all those things happen of great loyalty and self-sacrifice and love. That's Christ present. And he's present here with you today. You've made the effort to come as a community, care for one another just by your presence here. You bring your own faith, you bring your own joys, you bring your own sorrows, you bring your own worries. And they're all put up before God on the altar. And Jesus comes quietly and subtly through the great gift of the Eucharist, particularly just to be with you, to sustain you in the journey of life, to tell you to keep your head up. Don't be cowed down or defeatist. Be alert to what's happening in your life and try and do what you can to cope with it, but always knowing that he's with you. So that's the gift we have of our faith, and Advent is just a reminder of the subtlety of God's work in our lives, that it's day after day, moment after moment. You don't avert to it, but it's real. Because he's called you. He's called you to himself. He's made you one with his body. He's nourishing you with his sacred body. It's all done very simply. So we, just like Van Gogh, hope that we'll hold fast, that we continue our journey of life, that we won't be cowed by the terrible things that happen. We'll always turn to him for his strength and guidance. So Christmas is a time of expectation, it's a time of hope, it's a time of strength of faith. We're all sharing that this morning.